Hi, welcome to Pure Simple Photoshop. Today we're going to talk about adding snow into our photos. We're going to do it two different ways. The first way is using a pre-made action, and the second way we're going to use an overlay that we got off of just Google Images. So an action is where someone has recorded everything that they've done and they've made it so that you can replay that and add it onto a new file. They're actually really useful. I do use some actions, especially for things that I do repetitively. If I do the exact same thing to every file, then it's easy to record what that is and just run the action instead of having to do the same thing over and over again. Now, we haven't talked a lot about actions in this course because I'm a firm believer that you should understand what is going on in Photoshop before using actions a lot. That while you can get the results with an action, you don't understand what's going on. So if something happens incorrectly in your action, it's hard to fix it because you don't know what exactly happened. You don't know what it's trying to do. So we haven't done a lot of actions, so we're going to go over actions a little bit here. So with actions, if you go to your window menu, you'll find it's here, actions, or if you have the little triangle, the play button showing on your menus, it would be there as well. When you first open actions, there probably isn't anything showing. There might be the default actions showing, which is here, but you may not have any. Generally, you need to purchase actions, although sometimes you can find them for free. I have a couple of action sets that are in here. Greater Than Gatsby is a great resource of actions. They have some pretty nice looking actions. And Pretty Actions, which is the same as Pretty Presets for Lightroom. Now, I don't have a lot of actions that I use, but I do have a couple in here. So there they are. So what we do to load an action in, we go to the little hamburger symbol, the three lines, click on there, and we want to go down to load action. Now you're just going to go to wherever it is saved on your computer. When you first open this, it is going to take you to the actions folder in Photoshop, which is under presets and under your Photoshop folder. Which is in, if you've got a Mac, it's in your library. On a PC, it's under applications, I think. Now, I don't keep my presets there. I don't like them in the Photoshop one, so I'm just going to navigate over to where I keep them. What you're going to want to do is navigate to wherever you have saved your action. And for mine, I keep them in a folder called Actions. And so this is all of the actions. I'm just going to tidy that. This is all the actions that I have in here. So what I would do is I want to do the Pretty Snowflakes. When you open this from Pretty Presets, it comes with ones that are for Photoshop CC, and it also has a set that is for Photoshop Elements 11 to 13. So I have CC, so I want this one. I would click on here, say open, and it will load them in to my actions window. So I'm just going to open this folder. You can tell it's open because the icon changes. And it gives you a whole bunch of, this action set has a number of different actions that we can do. They actually are pretty good about having videos that show you what each of these actions do and how to use them. And it's always a good idea to check out the how-to videos for each specific action that you have purchased. So for this one, we're going to just go with Snow Shower Heavy. And all you basically do to run an action, to make an action work, is hit the play button, and it will do, as I said, it's a recorded, pre-recorded activity, and it basically will run whatever action is there. So that's the action for that. That's actually a little too heavy for that photo, I think. Let's try a different one. So I'm just going to run it again with a different action. And it's going to do the same thing, except this time it made another layer. So now I have one that's the heavy snow shower, and I have one that's the snow flurry one. And so I like snow flurries better, so I'm just going to delete that layer, no worries. But I don't really like these snowflakes right on her face. So how do we fix that? Well, we're just going to add a layer mask, and then we're just going to paint black on our layer mask to get rid of the snowflakes we don't want. And there we go. So I would be pretty happy with that. It looks pretty good. There are some other things that this action set has. You can change colors. Add layer mask literally does the same thing as just hitting the add layer mask button. So, you can add a haze to it. If we run that, you can see that it adds a haze into the photo. You can change the colors in here. So it's usually fun to play around with these just to see what exactly they will do. Let's see what Winter Bright does. Now, if it does something and you think, yeah, no, I don't like that. It's pretty simple. Just delete the layer. You can turn the layer off and see if you like it or not. I don't actually like the haze either, so I'm going to delete it. But that's pretty much how you use actions. Now, I'll tell you one thing about actions. If you open your actions window and it looks more like this, with all these buttons, like if it looks like this, these are actually buttons. If I click on here, it will run the action automatically. So for example, here's the same action set, the Pretty Preset Snow set, and if I just click on Purple Frost, it ran the action. Sometimes this can be useful, but you can see that some of these action sets that I have weird layers in here that come up with funny things. Like this is a social media. When I open that, it will just tell me things about Greater Than Gatsby. So I don't prefer the button mode, but if you do see it, that is what it is. And you can just turn it off here under the hamburger, as I like to call it. All right, so that's actions. Now, here we are to my same photo, and I'll show you how you can do this with an overlay. Okay, so the other way that you can add snow onto a photo is to get an overlay. So if we just pop over to Chrome, I just typed in snow overlay free, and you will find tons and tons of photos. So really what I'm looking for, something like this would work okay, but you don't want something like this because unless you have a super microscope, you're not going to see snowflakes that look like that. This will not look realistic. This one will probably look a lot more realistic. And there is actually a few of these. You can see that Snow Flurries overlay, tons and tons. There's tons of options that you'll be able to find. So I went with this one, and I've just saved this. So just right click, save image as. Remember where you saved it so that you will be able to find it again, because we were going to need it in a minute. So back over to Photoshop, what we're going to do is go File, Place Embedded. And what this basically does is we'll take a picture and embed it on top of your existing file. So it basically puts the photo into a layer above the layer you already have. So I'm just going to so I have 3 different overlays here. So let's just try, this is the one that I just showed you, which I called Snow Big Blurs, so I know what exactly it is. I'm just going to hit place, and it will put it in at the same size as what it was when we pulled it off of the internet. Now I'm just going to make it as big as my existing photo, and you can see that this is pixelated a bit, so we're not sure if this one's going to work. And this is where you find out that I'm actually doing this live and I've not done it before. So I'm going to hit OK and we'll see. And yeah, that actually came in okay. Once you hit OK with it, before you hit OK, it's the preview. And so sometimes it'll look a little funky. But that looks pretty good. And now when you have an overlay, what you basically are going to do is change the blend mode so that you can make it work. And the blend mode we're going to use is something called screen. And what screen does is it basically takes anything that is black on the picture on the layer that you're on, and makes it invisible. So if we do screen on here, you'll see that everything that was white on this image, you can still see, but everything that is black is gone. Now I actually think this doesn't work as well as we could. So we're going to try this again. We'll go File, and we're going to go back down to Place Embedded. And this time I'm going to use the one that says big chunks of snow falling. And I'm going to go Place. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to put this up here. And when you do this, you should make sure that you keep your aspect ratios locked so that you're not stretching the file left to right or up and down. And so that looks okay. We'll say okay to that. And then we're going to just put this on screen mode as well. Again, anything that was black disappears. And that looks not bad. Now, the same as we could do on the action, we can go in here and put a layer mask on. So I'm just going to paint black on my layer mask, and I'm just going to get rid of these two snowflakes. They just are right in the middle of her face and I don't like it. And so that is all there is to it for adding an overlay. Now that I've said that, let's go back over to this one that we used the action on. And we're going to ignore this top one because that's actually adding a gradient and color and doing some other stuff. But let's just look at this layer that we did this snow on. And let's see what the action actually did. We're going to just disable the layer mask for a second. And if we look at this layer, it's a black layer. And look at that, it's on screen mode. So what the action that we used to add the snow did was exactly what we just did. It embedded this picture on top of our existing photo and changed the blend mode to screen. And that is all this action has done. So that's why sometimes I think actions are a little bit overrated for stuff like this. You can totally do this yourself just by getting a good overlay. Okay, so that is how to add some snow in Photoshop. I hope that helps you. You have a great day.